I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back? What's going on, fight fans? It's Backchat TV, and I'm back with another video. This time, we're going to be covering all the things that happened in UFC 300 as quick as possible. There was a lot that happened in the card. It was an amazing card, by the way. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, literally, there was a lot of detractors from this card in the beginning, prior to the card, and everyone thought that maybe it wouldn't be so good. There's too many names on there, too many fights. There isn't anything at stake. That BMF title, some people are not really a fan of that. I had some of these concerns as well. It did not disappoint. The best card I've ever seen. One of the best cards, if not the best card. I enjoyed. There's so much to talk about, but I just don't want to make the video long, so I'm going to just go through it real quick. The main event, Pereira versus Hill. I had to go for it on this one because I didn't want to be on the fence, and I actually picked Jamel Hill for the upset. I know he was coming back from his surgery, and his timing was going to probably be a bit off, and I knew all those things, but I just felt Jamel Hill might be able to get the upset because, you know, his striking ability is so unorthodox. You know, the way he slips punches, and he's very explosive, just very awkward. He does a lot of things in there which I thought would make a more conventional fighter like Pereira uncomfortable. You know, the way he closes distance, like I said, he's very athletic. He slips those punches at the last minute, and Pereira has been seen to be a little bit slow. If you look at Adesanya, was hitting him at will in some of their fights, catching him, slipping shots, catching him with punches, and just because the speed advantage was with Adesanya. Now similarly, the speed advantage was going to be the same with Jamel Hill in this fight, and that's why I kind of picked Jamel Hill after I saw the way he knocked out most of his opponents, but the way he knocked out Johnny Walker. When I saw the way he knocked out Johnny Walker, that punch came from nowhere. I thought, yeah, I'm going to pick Jamel Hill. I think he's so awkward. I don't think anyone's really dealt with a fighter like him. But Pereira, man, Pereira was dangerous, man. He is everything that people say. Honestly, I was kind of doubting him because I seen what he's been able to do, but I just wanted to see what he'd be like at light heavyweight against some hard hitters like Jamel Hill. He passed the test, man. He really did. He was flawless. He was very poised. Sometimes you need to lose to become, you know, great. There's nothing wrong with losing. Even Jamel Hill is going to grow from this. You know, he's going to realise you can't just carry your hands low against every fighter. That open guard that he has, the advantage of that is that you can throw those unorthodox strikes from any position because you're relying on your reflexes and your explosiveness. And that can work until you get knocked out. Because, you know, the downside of having that type of posturing, the downside is that you're susceptible to punches, and if you're getting hit from Alex Pereira, you might not get the opportunity to get more than one before you're knocked out. You know, they carry power in both hands, both of them. We saw even in the beginning of the fight, Jamel Hill landed some good punches. Pereira landed some good leg kicks. Jamel Hill landed a good body kick. So, you know, it was pretty equal back and forward before the knockout, but, you know, they were touching hands, and that left hook, man, it's the most dangerous punch I've seen in any sport by any athlete. That left hook, you know, no one has an answer to it. He sets it up really well. He doesn't really, he doesn't telegraph it at all, to be honest. And he's just getting better at landing that left hook. You know, he's landed it on almost everyone he's fought. So, I think also, light heavyweight is his weight. I think he was sucking himself down to make that middleweight. It was never really him. I never thought he looked good. I mean, physically, he always looked drained. He always looked drained at middleweight. And he is a bigger man than Adesanya. You can see that when they were in there. Adesanya had the speed advantage. But you can see that Adesanya is a middleweight and Pereira is a light heavyweight. That's what I think. You know, Pereira looked just dangerous. He looked filled out. He looked strong. He looked very sturdy. Like I said, great posture. That left hook came out of nowhere. He had crazy power on it to put out Jamel Hill like that. You know, and he's just a dangerous man. When you look back now, you think, you know, Yuri, you want to see the Yuri Pereira rematch maybe. But yeah, he's a dangerous man, Pereira. I think Pereira could easily beat a lot of people at heavyweight, and he could contest anyone in UFC, and including John Jones. He can. I wouldn't put it past him knocking out or being the first person to knock out John Jones. You know, he's just a dangerous man. John Jones would be a different prospect because John Jones is very poised, more poised than Jamel Hill. He's more patient than Jamel Hill. He's more aware of things than Jamel Hill. So there's a lot of things that John Jones would bring that Jamel Hill doesn't bring. But that would be a great fight, just putting it out there. Great performance. I say performance and not fight, obviously, because it didn't really go long enough, but that's nobody's fault. Yeah, great performance. What can I say? Pereira is everything that people say of him and more. I have to eat a bit of humble pie because I was kind of like, I want to see him tested. You know, I want to see him tested before I jump on the hype train. But I've bought my ticket. I've bought my ticket and I'm on this hype train with Pereira. I think he can do anything, you know. I think he can knock out Yuri in a rematch if that happened. I think he could knock out a bunch of people in heavyweight, and I think he'd be dangerous to John Jones. I think he'd be dangerous to anyone in UFC, to be honest. Zhang versus Yan. It didn't disappoint as well. Another great fight. They were back and forward. Yan was a lot better than I thought she would be. She did herself proud. She pushed the champion all the way. It was back and forward. In the first round, she got caught in a chokehold, and the chokehold was tight, and she actually went out like a few seconds before the bell. She kind of came round, and she was lucky. They could have stopped the fight there. She kind of came round, and then they gave her some smelling salts in the corner, which I'm not sure you're allowed to do. That's a contentious point. I suppose the reason why maybe that hasn't come up so much, that she was given smelling salts after being choked out, is because she didn't win anyway. So, you know, he didn't get a chance to make a difference. But still a point of contention. Are you allowed to give smelling salts to somebody who's been knocked out or someone who's been choked out? Let me know if you know the answer to that. I don't know the answer, but like I said, it didn't have a massive effect on the fight. Yan did find herself to come around to consciousness, and actually she then came back to win the second round, because by that time I think Zhang had got a little bit tired. She expended a lot of energy grappling and choking Yan, so she was a bit tired, and that's when Yan started to come on strong. But this is what makes a champion. Champions have something extra. That's why they're champions. They know how to leave it all in the ring. There was times in the fight where I saw Yan really coming on strong, landed some great shots, because she's a great counter puncher. Very, very, one of the best counter punchers I've seen. I was really impressed with her counter punching. And Zhang, she's more of a fighter that comes forward. She's an attacking type of fighter, whereas Yan, I would say, is a counter puncher. So Zhang is a front runner. She's going to put a lot of pressure on you. She's going to come at you with everything, throwing shots. And if you can take it, which most people can't, then you've got a chance countering her, I think. But she's very fast. You've only got a split second to counter someone like her. And it's the thing that makes it even more difficult to beat Zhang is that she's got so many tools. Hard hands, good boxing, very strong. She can transition to takedowns, as we see. You know, she's just very quick and she's very explosive. And the only person who can probably beat someone like her is someone who can manage that distance, stop her from closing the distance, and catch her on the outside and not let her get on the inside. To beat Zhang, you would have to have good control of distance, good counter punching, good boxing, you know, good takedown defense, and be fast with your strikes and very precise. The only person who fits that description is, surprise, surprise, the lady who beat her last time, Rose Namajunas. I think that's the only way you can beat someone like Zhang. But Yan came very close to it with her counter-punching ability. Eventually, she was kind of overwhelmed, I would say, by Zhang's just tenaciousness, determination, and the fact that she's a champion. So good win for Zhang. I think it was a unanimous decision in the end. I would agree with that. We move on. The highlight: Gaethje versus Holloway. That fight did not disappoint. Is Gaethje even human? I don't know. Please let me know if Gaethje is human, and let me know if Holloway is human. Both of them, they just steal any card that they're on. They tend to steal the show. They have so much ability, but so much heart, and I don't know how they take so many punches. Gaethje does it day in, day out, taking hard shots, and he's hardly ever phased. But this time, came a little bit unstuck in this one. It was a great fight leading up to the knockout in the end. There was trading shots. Right at the end of the bell, Max Holloway landed a beautiful shot on Gaethje, which I think broke his nose. And there was blood coming out of it everywhere. There was blood. They were trying to stop it. There was a lot of blood coming from the nose. I think his nose was broken. I think I heard them saying not to blow the nose, so I think it might have been broken. Holloway, kept on the pressure. I feel like Gaethje kind of lost a bit of enthusiasm once that happened to him, because a lot of the times Gaethje, if he gets hit with punches that don't break his nose or something like that, it only spurs him on to come forward more. But he when he got that nose broken, it was quite a pivotal part of the fight. He couldn't breathe well. He was kind of like a little bit more timid. Not timid for other fighters, but timid for Gaethje. He was still coming forward with hard shots, but you could tell that the nose issue, had a profound effect. And then, it was still like a 50-50 fight. Holloway was getting the slightly better shots off, but Gaethje was, landing his shots as well, hard shots on Holloway. And in the end, they said, forget all this jabbing and moving, let's just fight. Holloway actually initiated for them to just come forward and fight for the last few seconds of the round, and Holloway caught him with something. I don't even know what he caught him with. Let me know. I'm gonna rewatch it. He caught Gaethje with something which knocked Gaethje out cold completely on his face. I've never seen Gaethje knocked out like that. Holloway must really carry some power, because I didn't think he had that kind of power. I've seen Gaethje hit hundreds of times and not go anywhere. So that was an amazing knockout for Holloway. Holloway looked good at this new weight. I feel like I got this pick wrong, by the way. I thought Gaethje would win, so I got 2 picks wrong so far. I said Jamel Hill would beat Pereira. I was wrong. I said Gaethje would beat Holloway. I was wrong. I think Holloway is got a lot left, because I worried about how much he's got left. He's been hit a lot of times. He was punch drunk. Yuri and Holloway actually got the bonus. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Obviously, Holloway should definitely get it. Yuri had a great knockout, but I think Pereira with that great knockout, that was amazing. So I'm not sure whose knockout was better, Yuri or Pereira. I'm not sure. But when I think about it, I think I know why they gave the bonus to Yuri, because he was losing. Rakic was absolutely boxing his head off, boxing beautifully. It's that open guard again, that hands down style, hands down open guard, using your reflexes. He was getting caught out, but he came back with the equalizer. So yeah, I suppose he did deserve the bonus. On to the Sterling and Keita fight. I need to watch that again. A lot of people say they don't want to see that again. Apparently it was boring. It was Sterling using a lot of his wrestling. He dominated every round in the end, and it was like a decision, but a lot of people were booing. But Sterling goes on, man. If you are someone interested in UFC, you don't just want these knockouts and stuff like that. A lot of the times, a lot of casual fans that are watching this, they just want to see knockouts, and if you spend too long grappling, they don't want to know, and they start making noise. I'm not really a person like that. I like to watch. I like the technicality of the fight. Obviously, I don't like to watch a boring fight, but I like if 2 people are being technical in there, which Sterling was, then he deserved the win. So good win, not really a great performance, but he moves on, and so do we. We move on to Oliveira and Sarukian. Another tough fight. They were both, high level. It was a high level fight. Oliveira's dangerous, man. I underestimated him. I know he can strangle you. I know he can, take your back, and he can do that to a lot of people. But I didn't think he would be able to do that to Sarukian. Sarukian, powerful, strong fighter, good wrestling, good boxing. I just felt like he was going to be too strong for Oliveira, and ultimately that was the case. But early on, Oliveira really showed me why he gives people so much trouble. He's very quick, he's very sneaky with that mounting, taking the back, getting the choke on. He can do it in his sleep, man. Everyone is at danger when they fight Oliveira. But it was a good performance, but I feel like Sarukian deserved to win, and he did. He won a decision. But ultimately, I thought that Oliveira was a really good test for Sarukian. Obviously, former champion, is a high-level jiu-jitsu. Oliveira, probably one of the best. And Sarukian, that was a really good win. A big step up for Sarukian. I believed in him. I thought that he would win. I don't know why, just something about him, the way that he fights, his style. I think he's good. He's good everywhere. Good boxing, strong, good like wrestling, and I just feel like he's looked pretty flawless so far. And Oliveira's getting a little bit older. I didn't think he'd be able to match Sarukian's power, to be honest. And to be honest, that's kind of how it went. But Oliveira put up a really good fight. I thought he was a lot better than I thought he would be in this fight, to be honest. But everyone knows that Oliveira is one of the best of all time, so I'm not surprised that it was close. But at the end, just that ground and pound from Sarukian just ended the fight. And he's a very dangerous opponent for anyone in the division. Another good fight was Yuri versus Rakic. Rakic, he didn't do much wrong, man. He really didn't. He was fighting beautifully. He had the jab there working. He was jabbing. He had the guard up. Unlike Yuri, who had his hands down and was eating shots. When nothing was on upstairs, Rakic was landing really good leg kicks. And he was managing distance really well. He was just doing really well. But in the end, Yuri found a way in with his hands down. Getting caught by shots. I hope he kind of changes that a little bit to get those hands up. But yeah, he got in on Rakic, and once he got in, Yuri, we saw where the power really lies. Yuri started landing power shots. Rakic went down, ground and pound, hammer fist, and then he was out of there. But up until the stoppage, Rakic was really giving Yuri a boxing lesson, So maybe a lot to learn there by Yuri, but he seemed to be unconcerned by the power. So maybe Rakic didn't have enough power. That open style is very awkward. But again, if we look at what happened to Hill with that open guard, people who have this open guard, they get hit. So that's just something to bear in mind. Good win by Yuri. It's good to see him back because he had injury for a long time. So it's good to see him back. He looked dangerous as ever. We had Holly Holmes versus Harrison, Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison dominated that fight, to be honest. Younger, fitter, much stronger. Initially, Holly Holmes tried to take her down. I'm not sure what that was about. Holly Holmes should have been trying to keep it on the feet. I think maybe she wanted to prove a point that she can out-wrestle, a high-level judo professional, former Olympic gold medalist. It was a silly idea, to be honest, from Holmes. She should have had more experience. She should have kept the distance. Harrison really just, she looked like the class athlete that now we're noticing that she is. To beat a legend like Holly Holmes, what does Holly Holmes do now that she lost? I don't know, maybe retire. She seems to love the sport, so, if you still love the sport, you carry on fighting, but the time is ticking for Holly Holmes now. She is a legend, absolute legend, but the time is definitely ticking for her. And so far, that's the only fights I've watched. I didn't get a chance to watch Lopez, Yusuf versus Lopez yet. there's actually a lot of fights on the card that I didn't get to see. So there are a few other fights I didn't get to see. I didn't get to see Sterling fight all the way through. I just saw a lot of grappling. I didn't get to see Yusuf and Lopez. I think Lopez won. I'm going to check and see if that's correct. But yeah, Holly Holmes. Let's talk a little bit more about that fight just to finish out this kind of review. Holly Holmes is a legend, but she's 40 or 42 now, and it showed in her body and her conditioning a bit. You know, she wasn't as strong as Carla Harrison, which we knew would be the case. She wasn't as fast. She didn't look as fit. You know, she got taken down when really she should have been keeping the distance. It seemed like Carla Harrison was faster, so she had a speed advantage. She definitely had a power advantage. You know, so there wasn't really much that that Holly Holmes maybe could bring to the table when it comes to fighting these younger girls, man. You know, you can't fight father time, as they say, or mother time in her case, and it might be time to hang up the gloves. You know, but you know, she's still a legend. We saw, you know, in her fight before this that she won. She can still win fights, but at the top level, I think she's slipping quite a lot now. We've got to really start looking at Carla Harrison. I thought she looked amazing. Like I said, fast, powerful, explosive. She had good composure as well. She looked like the full package at the moment. So, like I said, I haven't watched all the fights yet. This is just literally an initial reaction to the fights I have watched. But so far, from what I watched of UFC 300, it has been amazing. It lived up to, you know, everything people were doubting it would be. But let me know what you thought of UFC 300. Just a quick recap. It was a great night. We got Pereira, dangerous man. He also looks at home at light heavyweight. No longer boiling himself down to that middleweight division. That just wasn't for him. We had Yuri coming back with a great performance, putting himself in the picture again. We had the old guard in Charles Oliveira being taken over now by the new young blood, Sarukian, coming up. He deserves that position. He deserves to beat Oliveira. I think he looks very exciting. Bo Nickel looks very exciting. So many exciting fighters now taking over the old established fighters. Holly Holmes, like I said before, I think she's kind of had her time now. Her time was the time of Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate. I think her time is kind of done, or coming to an end now anyway. I'm excited to see these newcomers coming up, and excited to see what they can do at the division. I'm excited to see Jamal Hill. How does he bounce back from this vicious knockout? You know, because this will test the kind of person he is, and sometimes it's good to go through some adversity. So I'd like to see how he comes back. Gaethje, he's been doing this for a long time. I don't know what to say about Gaethje. You know, I don't know what to say about him. Part of me wants him to consider retiring just because he's taken a lot of punishment, and this last knockout just wasn't great. You know, but at the same time, he's so exciting. He's such a professional. He's such a high-level fighter. You can't call a retirement on a fighter like that. You know, he's the kind of fighter that could come back and still have massive wins over a lot of fighters in the division. So you can never count him out. But you know, his fighting style doesn't. It's not good for your health long term. So anyway, I've been talking enough. I'm on to the next one.
I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?